Alright, everybody, we're back with more Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, episode number 1, Turnabout Trump. We're in the first part of the trial. We're in the middle of cross-examining Olga, so let's get back to that. Oh, I was gonna... can I do that? Doesn't look like it can at the moment. I'll figure it out later. But anyway, so we were like, hey Olga, you're gonna have to testify again. She's like, da. So that's our recap. Here we go. Witness testimony. Serious competition. The game began with 3,500 points and chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and... Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game. As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and it's advancing by itself again. Hang on. I did it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I've done. A common tale, but true. He thinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. He assumes a priori. Serious competition. Game began with 3,500 points and chips for each man. Hold it. Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used? No, not special. Usual game, usual rules. If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. Hold it. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Of course. That's our first clue. Something's fishy with these chips. Aha, very funny. Should I press harder? Of course, always press harder. Except when it's a bad idea. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. Explain? What is there to be explained? Objection. Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block. Not a motorcycle block. Oh, jeez. I didn't even get to read that. Come on. Not a motorcycle cop. Not a... He's going into, like, Dr. Seuss there. Thanks. Now that I've pressed her, I'd better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars? Or ruples, even? Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Oh, screw you. 2 types of chip, 100 points. 100 points chips, and 1,000 point chip. It is not money, Justice. Sir? Don't you find her comment interesting? What about, insulting us capitalists? What's interesting about that? Yeah, in more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defense want the witness to add to her testimony? Yes. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Very well, witness, if you would be so kind. Your Honor. One kind of chip is worth 100 points. Other kind of chip worth 1,000, 2 kinds in all. Okay, we're gonna take a look at this. So, let's do some quickie math here. So, so there's 7,000 points in all. And there's, let's see, there's 6 red chips and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 gray chips. So let's assume that the red chips are worth 1,000 apiece and the gray chips are worth 100. Hey, that actually works out. Okay, so now we know. And there's really no other way to interpret that, so... But I don't know what I need to do to... I don't think I can just present right now. I think I need to get some more information out of her. Hold it! Mr. Gavin said this testimony is important. To be honest, I have no idea why. Mr. Justice, do the court a favor and think of what you want to say before raising your hand. We are not in kindergarten. Sorry, I'm fine. Stop saying you're fine. I'd rather think of something to ask. I'd better think of something to ask and quick. The 2 types of chips. The small ones are 100 and the big ones are 1,000, right? Right? Of course. Ha. Don't waste our time. Is that all? Yeah. Gulp. Great. Mr. Gavin made me stop her, and now I'm the one who looks dumb. Oh, Justice. Please try not to embarrass me like that. Huh? Who, me? There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. What? It's a simple matter of calculation. Go on, try it. We're not in kindergarten after all. Calculation? The one who was winning, it was victim. Okay. Ooh. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabbed. Okay, so let's start pressing these. Who was winning, it was victim. Hold it. You're telling me that Mr. Wright, undefeated for 7 whole years, was losing? It must have been most unlucky day for him. Click. I am glad I did not take another picture of him. It would break camera, certainly. The chips, they went away. They went always to victim's side of table. So you're telling us it was a one-sided game? One-sided, and... For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. Last hand. It was largest point of any hand. The defendant's hand, it was excellent. He tried to use it to take victory from behind. It appears that both the defendant and victim's hands are in this picture. That is truly an excellent hand, however, so is the victim's. One with highest number wins, so defendant loses. The victim, Mr. Smith, had a stronger hand than the defendant and crushed him. I believe that explains what occurred next. Once cards laid down on table, it happened. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabbed bottle from table and hold it. And? What happened? What happened next? Even to think of it now, I shake and tremble. I did not believe such thing would happen. What such thing? Please, you must believe I had no idea. How could such thing occur? What such thing? Niet. The defendant had been hitting victim. I saw it all happen right before me. I saw a bottle coming down on victim's head. Decisive, isn't it, Your Honor? My witness saw the very moment of the crime. Remember, your first goal is to gather information. Yes, sir. Look out, contradiction. Here comes justice. The game began with 3,500 points in chips for each man. Okay. 2 kinds in all. The one who was winning thought it was victim. Well, okay, I did the math. And it sure looks like Phoenix was winning, so is this what I present? Because the answer is in my head, it's not in the evidence, so... Yes! Okay. You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure? Objection. It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. If you're not in kindergarten. Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh. Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up. The totals. Yes. Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips. And the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes. If my calculations are correct, let's see. 3 plus 1, carry the 5. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small ones are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? It's 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. Rubble, 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 rubble. But why? How could this be? Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right, there's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Starting points were wrong. Both were right. Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer. Well, what is it? The value of the chips was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness! Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Rubble, 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 rubble. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. Objection. But wait. The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing. Indeed, the victim did have the large number of chips still. The larger number of chips still. Ah! Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and Mr. Wright had 4,100 points. Well, now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible. My client has even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Yeah. Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Eek! Rubble, 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 rubble. Clack, clack, clack. Order, order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we could... excuse me, what is it, Miss Orley? I did not want to be saying this, but... Actually, you see, what is it, Miss Orley? What do we see? In last hand, there was cheat. Rubble, 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 rubble. A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing. Yes, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great. Just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. Okay, I be doing testifying now. The final hand. The last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument. The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? Because this game is stupid and people lie for no reason. Seriously, that's one of the biggest problems with this game, is that people just lie to you for no reason at all. I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, in my experience. That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics. Mr. Gavin, what's a full house? Players these days, you don't know your poker. I can't say this bodes well for your case or career. What is this, some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number make a pair. And 3 makes 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1... Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. Okay. That's a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo. Okay, wow, they both have full houses. Okay, so where's the cheat? We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. Clack. Ahem, the defense may cross-examine the witness. If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Cross-examination. The final hand. The last hand, both men had full house. Hold it. Just how hard is it to make a full house anyway? It is quite hard, duh. It is making a pair and a 3 of a kind at the same time. I guess that's right. Very difficult to be sure. You could take my word as the poker head of courtroom number 3. Very difficult, duh, but is not impossible. Okay, full house, hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. Hold it. 4 of each card, you say? Da, there is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons. Huh? You don't say. Ah, and did you know that the cards are numbered 1 through 13? Add all the cards in a deck and you get 364 a year. No, you don't. Huh, you don't say. Isn't that 1 day short? That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Wait a minute. What he just said is wrong, right? Add up all the cards in the deck. Yeah, it's 52, which is the number of weeks in a year. Thus, you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards. Huh, you don't say. We're going to be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. How was it clear? Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace. A 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot. Or perhaps I should say, a hand. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke? Very well, the witness will add this detail to her testimony, please. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. I gotta take another look at this photograph. No, that is wrong. That is totally wrong. Objection. It appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name... Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? Justice. Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony? It's... right here. There we go. Take that. Why, it's here, of course. It's where? Where is that you're pointing? Where? Good question. Oh, come on. We've already heard today on the dangers of bluffing. Sorry, Your Honor. I'd better rethink this. I think you'd best point out your point again. Your point contradicts the witness's testimony. Okay, trying to point with the stylus, but it wouldn't let me. But it's totally this. Take that. Miss Orley, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, but as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Eek! Objection. Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. Objection. No. Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's the 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom. Robble, 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 robble. Clack. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating. Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it, the 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us in this trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might that be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards. The cards? Mr. Payne. Yes. The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Clack. Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? If these cards don't prove cheating was going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? Let's look at the defendant's hand. Let's start with Mr. Wright's hand. The defense would like to view the defendant's hand. Very well, Mr. Payne, your evidence. Yes, Your Honor. Received evidence, Wright's hand. Well, now, let's see what we have here. Right, sir. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the right stick to turn it every which way and Y and X to zoom in and out. What are these things you're talking about, sir? You're breaking the fourth wall again. You're talking as if I'm holding a controller. We're lawyers. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Alright, so I know what I'm looking for, and it's not here. Actually, weren't we, didn't we say that we were dealing with blue cards? The card backs are red. For some reason, I thought that they were using blue cards in that final hand. Yeah. Didn't you, Mr. Gavin? Huh? Oh, which was it now? I don't know. Well, has the defense found anything that they would like to share with the court? Not unless you count utter confusion. Perhaps you'd best examine the victim's cards next. Of course, you can always give these cards another look. Well, do I examine the other hand of cards? Yeah. Guess I'll examine the victim's cards. Your Honor, the defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's hand. Granted, but make it quick, Mr. Justice. Okay, don't worry. Justice is always swift. Okay, flip it around and aha! What? Nani? Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards, the back is a different color. That is impossible. But I put that card in right hand. Oh, oops. Ack. What was that, Miss Orley? No, niet. I merely said, I have eek. Your Honor. Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker? To, cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, or a comrade, shall we say. The dealer. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley? She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. Yeah. Rubble, 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 rubble. Order, order! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. I mean of her mistake. Yeah, good save there, Apollo. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ergo, Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Oh. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. What? Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you? Time for justice. Oh, shut up. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident, and if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder. Eek! And she's passed out. And we didn't spill a thing. Or break any dishes. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga Orley? It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor. Mr. Justice, Your Honor. It seems you presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. And that means the court cannot pronounce a verdict of the defendant at this time. What? I did it. I held out. Clack. I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries. Objection. Mr. Wright, you can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means? Objection. What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous. Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Clack. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night. As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before. The 2 decks at the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. Use different colors and they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game. I see. But that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, 1 card was the wrong color. Got mixed into the... Start over. Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating. Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course, it was swapped. Oh, my thumb just... Of course, it was swapped. Oh? It might be as simple as... It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be. Ugh. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? I don't know. Why am I being asked this? Let's see it. I don't think it was before the murder. Here's the thing. She was pretty sure that there was a 5th ace. So during the murder, the original card was still there, so it's got to be after the murder. Perhaps it happened after the murder. Objection. What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hand? After the hands have been shown? That's silly. Objection. Yes, but tell me. How do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Objection. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Oh? Even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Ah! Quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder. Objection. Okay, this is going past silly and straight into crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us. There's another? Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orley. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for the blue? Okay, I'm gonna be wacky and say someone else. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course, and well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either. Well, what are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As the defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card. And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you would like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is. Objection. Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant and wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it? Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card, because the one who did the swap didn't know the two colors of the cards were being used. The other mistake was the number of the card. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house, so they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. Objection. But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist. True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime. What? Rubble. I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. Clack. The trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption? The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well, the trial will resume in 20 minutes. April 20th, 11:52 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright, to suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must say, is it the truth? Well now, I think you would know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I've no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. See, you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice. Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. No. He vanishes. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket, right? Here, you can take a look at it. You can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. Okay. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Ah. You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law? Figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will. Soon. Almost forgot one more thing. About this case. You should know I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. Oakley dokley. To be continued. Alright, well that's a good time for a break anyway. We're about 45 minutes into this. So, see you in a little bit. I'm going to get up, do a stretch, and I'll be right back. So, don't you go nowhere.